Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special edition of The Drop. Greg Wyshynski, Arda, Ocal. We have a lot to get to, including our year-end awards for the calendar year 2022. You might be wondering, why are you dressed up so snazzy? Greg Wyshynski, why are you wearing a tie? Why are you...
We talked about it being the awards. I thought we were going to dress like we were on the awards, like we're on the Oscars or something. You decided to slap on your Michael Jackson circa Beat It jacket, and I'm wearing a tux. So I'm not quite sure what the miscommunication was here.
I think I look great. Thank you very much. There's a special reason why we decided to dress up, and that's because a landmark occasion has happened in the National Hockey League. For only the third time in history, a player has reached 800 career goals. What once seemed impossible now seems entirely probable. Alexander Ovechkin scored a hat trick against the Chicago Blackhawks on Tuesday night, bringing him to 800 career goals. Only Gordie Howe and Wayne Gretzky have also done that. Of course, now the climb begins. Gordie at 801 and Wayne at 894. What does the number 800 in terms of goals in the NHL mean to you, Wish?
Well, the thing that really stands out to me about Ovechkin is that those 800 goals plus any goals he scores after this will have been scored with the same franchise. And I spoke to Washington Capitals owner Ted Leonsis at the NHL Board of Governors meeting in Palm Beach this week. We'll talk about that meeting a little bit later on. And he indicated to me that while Ovechkin breaking the Gretzky record is going to be a monumental moment for the National Hockey League and hockey history as a whole, the record that means the most to Ted is that Ovechkin will have finished his career, whenever it does finish, with the most goals scored with one franchise. He believes that record might be the more unbreakable record of the two, because you think about where we are in 2022, man, salary cap, teams that rebuild. If I had told you 7 years ago that Taves and Kane wouldn't be finishing their careers as Blackhawks, you would have said that's insane, but yet it happens. But it hasn't happened with Alex Ovechkin and the Washington Capitals, and that is an amazing achievement.
And obviously, you know, an owner being very happy that his star player decides to stick with him in his franchise for a career, naturally. But it is very impressive. And it also goes to show you how many records Ovechkin is actually breaking along the way to breaking the record that everyone is talking about. While he climbs to 894, you mentioned it, most goals for one franchise. How about most power play goals? How about most goals on the road? In fact, during the hat trick that he scored against the Blackhawks, he actually surpassed Gordie Howe for second most combined goals in the regular season and playoffs. Wow. Gretzky also has that record. I love the random stats. This is a fun one, Wish. He also surpassed Jaromir Jagr for most game opening goals with 136. It's very random, stat. But I love it.
I love that stat. It used to be back before every game had a 2-0 lead that wasn't safe, that a first goal in the NHL would mean everything. But the real thing we're looking at here as far as records are is obviously the Wayne Gretzky chase, the great chase, trademark Alex Ovechkin, that is going to be ongoing for the next few seasons. Can he catch Gretzky? Well, based on Alex Ovechkin's career goals per game average of 0.613, he would tie Gretzky in 154 games. That means sometime early in the 2024-25 season. Not sure how many Avatar sequels we'll have by then, but I imagine it'll be a few. Assuming he doesn't miss significant time, which of course the Russian machine thankfully does not break and keeps up with that goals pace. So early 24-25 is where we'd be looking for him to finally catch and potentially pass Wayne Gretzky.
I just want, let's contextualize this, Wish. I mean, we've loved hockey all our lives. You've been covering hockey for a very long time. You also remember a time where it was ludicrous to even talk about this particular record being broken or even being in the vicinity of being broken. I mean, the fact that we're at this point, that Ovechkin has scored 800 goals, the career, the way that it's gone at 37 years of age, the way that he's continuing to produce, this is really a once in a lifetime thing that we're experiencing.
It truly is. Before I became a hockey writer with the Worldwide Leader in Sports, I was a young reporter in the Washington, D.C. area for a weekly newspaper, and I covered the Capitals during Ovechkin's early years. And to think back at him as that rock star young player scoring, 60 goals in a season, energizing that franchise, rebuilding a franchise on his back, and creating a fan base out of nothing in Washington, D.C., it's still remarkable to think that that guy is now on the precipice of breaking Wayne Gretzky's record. But, we often talk about, is Ovechkin already the greatest goal scorer in NHL history? And I think he is, man. Like, to do what he's done in this era, with the goalies being as good as they are, with the defensemen being as good as they are, with the defenses being as good as they are systematically, with the amount of teams, the amount of talent, all of those factors that Wayne Gretzky didn't have to deal with. Break the record, don't break the record, I don't care. For my money, Alex Ovechkin is the greatest goal scorer in hockey history.
And by the way, many times people know what's going to happen. He's going to shoot from the left circle and it's going to go in. In the last 6 years, nobody has scored more from the left circle than Alex Ovechkin. Here's a question for you, Wish.
Yeah.
How high can he go? And I asked this question on the broadcast to Ryan Callahan and to PK Subban. Callie says 900. PK actually says 1,000. How far do you think Ovi can go, in your opinion?
I don't think he quite gets to 1,000. I think 900 is probably in reach. The end of Ovechkin's career is going to be very interesting. Obviously, after this contract with the Capitals, there's a lot of speculation that maybe he finishes out his final years in the KHL, playing back in the motherland. But for me, the interesting thing about Ovechkin is that he's told the Capitals that he doesn't want to break this Wayne Gretzky record as a third liner, as a guy just popping in goals in the power play. He wants to be a relevant, contributing player on the top line for this team when he breaks this record. And I think that's admirable, man. It's one of the reasons Gretzky respects the record chase right now, is because Ovi wants to earn it the right way. He's not one of these guys playing well past his prime, scratching and clawing and trying to get to immortality. He wants to be a relevant player on a competitive team when he breaks this record.
And I love that Gretzky's already said, listen, when he gets close to the record, I'm going to follow him around.
Yeah,
I love that that's already set in stone. Couple things on this before we move on. The actual game itself. I know that there's been a lot of conversation about empty net goals. That's become a big topic leading up to this game, because Ovi had 4 straight empty net goals, his last 4 goals. That's actually tying an NHL record as well. I love that he scored 2 quick goals in the first period, like just to shut that down completely. Like, enough of this. I'm scoring whether you like it or not. Stop with the empty net goal talk, people. I loved it. I thought it was hilarious.
Right. Oh, empty net goal. Here's a hat trick. Here's what I can do. I love it. The empty net goal thing is interesting because back in the early days of the internet, when I was a blogger on Puck Daddy, the great Alex Ovechkin, Sidney Crosby wars would rage, and you'd have to pick one side. Yeah. You're either on the Mick Jagger, Alex Ovechkin side, or on the John Lennon, Sidney Crosby side, whether rock star or the milquetoast Canadian superstar, one of the two. And the Ovechkin critics would always talk about those empty net goals as being kind of counterfeit. And my counter argument to that would be, he's on the ice for a reason. If he was a liability, he wouldn't be on the ice in that moment. He's on the ice to end the game. It's a tactical decision by his coaches to have him on the ice when the opposing net is empty, because they know he has a better than good chance of putting the puck in that net and ending the game. It's a skill. It's part of his skill set. It's part of his talent set. It's a remarkable thing, and he's second only to Wayne Gretzky in career empty net goals.
Yeah, let's not gloss over that. Wayne Gretzky has 56 empty net goals.
Yeah.
And Ovi has 53. So I agree with you. It doesn't matter. Last thing I want to mention on this, I thought it was very classy of Patrick Kane and Max Domi and Jonathan Taves to go and shake his hand on the ice after the game. I love that kind of stuff. Love that camaraderie. Obviously, the handshake line is one of my favorite thing in sports. But I think that's going to happen a lot. And certainly around the milestones like 801, 802, whenever he does get those goals, I'm sure that the opposing team, there'll be a few handshakes on the ice there too. But I feel like this is just going to be a continuous celebration up until we get to that Wayne Gretzky plateau.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the most popular players of the last 30 years in the NHL. On the ice, off the ice, it's kind of changed a little bit. His support of Vladimir Putin obviously has gained him a number of critics in the last couple of years, and rightfully so. Check his Instagram avatar in case you're wondering what I mean by that. But the thing about him, and Leonce has pointed this out too, is he's the all-time leading scorer as far as road goals. There's a reason for that. It's that no matter how people feel about the Washington Capitals, there's a lot of love for Ovechkin, no matter where he goes. It's almost like a home game for him, outside of maybe trips to Pittsburgh. And that support, according to Leonce, is one of the reasons why he was able to set that record too.
So congratulations, Alex Ovechkin, third player in history to reach 800 goals. Of course, the next 2 goals will be milestones as well, tying Gordie Howe at 801 and then surpassing him at 802. We continue on here on The Drop, NHL Awards, but we're going to give our own little spin on it. We're actually going to focus only on the calendar year of 2022 from January 1st until now. So that includes, obviously, half of last season, the playoffs, and half of this season. So let's go through them. The player of 2022 with those parameters, in your opinion, Wish, is?
Cale Makar. Cale Makar, without question, had the kind of year that puts him on that level of Nick Lidstrom, where you pencil him in as the Norris Trophy winner before the season starts. He was the driving force behind them winning the Stanley Cup, winning the Conn Smythe in the process. Amongst the top 5 scorers amongst defensemen this year, Cale Makar had himself a whale of a season.
Obviously, when you have these kind of conversations, Connor McDavid will always be near the top of the list. So obviously, I'm giving my vote to Connor McDavid here because he's just amazing, and he was amazing in the second half of last season and the first half of this season. I do want to give some love to Tage Thompson, though, because I feel like he really came into his own in this calendar year. It was like February where it really felt like he broke out of his shell. The Sabres became extremely fun to watch. He was at the center of it, and that's continuing into this season. So I really hope that he would get some votes in this category for that reason. Most stunning move of 2022.
I like how you think we have voters. Most stunning move of 2022.
We have a whole team, okay, people? It's like the whole association behind this. Anyway,
I had my choice between 2, and they both involved the Montreal Canadiens. I thought one of them could easily be them hiring a youth hockey coach named Marty St. Louis to take over their team this year. That's definitely in contention, but it's got to be drafting Juraj Slafkovsky, number 1 overall in the NHL draft. It was in Montreal. Everybody remembers an entire year of, shame for Shane, as everybody tried to tank their season to draft Shane Wright. Well, lo and behold, Shane Wright ain't even the first overall pick. He ain't the second overall pick. He ain't the third overall pick. It's Slafkovsky that the Canadiens drafted, stunning the home crowd in that building, and I'll never forget that moment.
Am I doing the right Shane Wright stare? Me on the stage. I had the Panthers getting dismantled by the Lightning in the Battle of Florida in the second round.
Okay.
But now that I think about it, if we're looking for like moves, I guess that was a big reason why Andrew Brunette did not continue on as coach of the Panthers. Maybe if that series went a little better, that Brunette would be continuing behind the bench for the Panthers. But let's just look at this. He did great in the regular season for the Panthers. The Panthers are struggling right now, and Brunette went on to the Devils, who are now an absolute wagon, right? So I'm not saying that Andrew Brunette is the sole reason for this, but now with hindsight being 2020, that's a surprising move to me that Brunette is not still involved with the Panthers organization.
It's kind of wild that neither of us picked Johnny Gaudreau to Columbus, which then led to Matthew Tkachuk in Florida. I mean, that's part of it too. I think that's definitely a contender for this as well.
Yeah, okay. We'll make that the honorable mention. The jersey of 2022 is
Nashville Predator Stadium Series jersey, the one that said Smashville across the front. The Stadium Series is great because it's kind of like the freaky fashion show version of an outdoor game. The Winter Classic is always very traditional. Like, we're going to harken back to the 1916 blah, blah, blahs for who cares? The Stadium Series is always like make up fakey phony jerseys. And the Stadium Series jersey for the Predators with that said Smashville was awesome. I love that jersey.
How dare you? The 1916 blah, blah, blahs were Stanley Cup contenders.
They beat the Vancouver Millionaires. Yeah, I know.
Panthers reverse retros. They may be the best jersey of our generation. I'll go so far. Funniest moment of 2022.
Look, it's all going to be worthwhile because they're going to get a new arena. They're going to stay in that market for 30 years. It's going to all work out. Austin Matthews will play out his career wearing the crest and all that stuff. But the Arizona Coyotes are playing on a college campus in a 5,000 seat arena, and it's called the Mullet. I rest my case. It's the funniest thing of the year.
I still maintain when they're out of the playoffs by March, just sign Jaromir Jagr for a farewell tour in the NHL. Let him grow out the mullet. Put him on the power play for 20 seconds. Mullet's playing at the Mullet. Come on. Is that not like the best marketing idea?
They've got film. Go get the film from Kladno. He's a 50-year-old that can still go. He had to play for them recently. Yeah, absolutely.
Honorable mention to Nick Obey-Kubel denting the Stanley Cup during the celebration. I mean, that's just hilarious, right? And like McKinnon's like, whoa! Everyone's like, oh no! The Stanley Cup, and it didn't get fixed for like weeks, right? Like it was still dented during like the celebrations, the days after. I guess when are they going to find the time to fix it if the team is celebrating with it? Yep. Time capsule moment of 2022.
Without question for me, you mentioned Nathan MacKinnon. It's Nathan MacKinnon, infamous taskmaster when it comes to the diets of his teammates and nutrition, saying after winning the Stanley Cup, I might get as fat as Shizzle right now. So I don't know if we're going to go back to back. A moment of true self-awareness and levity from Captain Sirius, and I really appreciated that.
Speaking of Sirius, I went impactful with my pick. Nazem Kadri bringing the Stanley Cup to a mosque. When I look back on this season, like years and years from now, that's going to be a moment that I think it was a landmark moment, first time that ever happened, but also one that will be spoken about and referenced for years and years to come. So that's one moment that you would certainly put in a time capsule. Moving right along, you went to the Board of Governors meeting. You were in a hot climate. Lucky you. I just imagine you in a Hawaiian shirt and shorts and sandals attending these meetings right in the center of it, giving the owners some ideas for the future, right? That was you?
Yeah, as you'll see, Arda, in this brief mini doc, it's not shorts and sandals amongst the hockey media in Florida.
Have you ever wondered what happens at the NHL Board of Governors meetings? They usually take place at a luxury resort. This time it was the Breakers in Palm Beach, Florida, which first opened in 1896 and burned down a couple times and is now the winter vacation destination for billionaires, some of whom own professional hockey teams. Seriously though, look at this lobby. Somebody tell Mike White that I think I found his location for the White Lotus Season 3. You know who you don't see here? Hockey writers. In order to keep the filthy media out of that opulent lobby, we get our own media room on the mezzanine level, complete with uncomfortable chairs, zero view of the ocean, and lots and lots and lots of coffee, including decaffeinated coffee, or as sports writers call it, pointless. In full disclosure, I thought these were mints, but they're actually lumps of sugar, a mistake I did not make twice. Most of the time covering the Board of Governors meeting is waiting around for the Board of Governors to finish meeting, which means spending lots of time with such luminaries as Darren Dreger of TSN fame. A lot of people think we might wear Hawaiian shirts and flip-flops to the more tropical Board of Governors meetings, but no, we wear suits and we stand around in them, waiting to hear all the juicy details of the meeting from NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman.
The visitors we had today were a lot of internal updates, whether it was hockey operations, business update.
After hearing from Bettman, we do some other interviews, collect more information, rush back up to the mezzanine, bang out our stories, fueled by the nectar of the gods. Then we finally get to see the ocean, we eat some tacos, we see the Christmas fountain, and we do it all over again on day 2. And then it's off to the airport and onto the plane where you try to avoid the man spread next to you. Happy Board of Governors, everyone.
I like these videos you're making, Wish. You're adding even more value to the show. Good for you.
Yeah, many people say I'm the David Fincher of ESPN. many people are saying that.
Stop it. Yeah, many people meaning you and your family. All right. The search for merch. This is where we put out a call to all hockey teams, anyone who's hockey adjacent, to send us your cool stuff so that we can showcase it on the show and then do some fun giveaways. I do have a fun giveaway. I know that for many parts of the United States of America, we're not in barbecue season right now, but this might be a really cool holiday gift. This is hockey sticks repurposed into barbecue equipment. Okay. Nice. Barbecue tools, barbecue. Like yeah. This is really cool. Like you got a bottle opener, you got a spatula, you got tongs, this is really cool. You got a fork, all really cool stuff here. You can see these are the sticks here. The company is called Requipped. They are the premier repurposer of hockey sticks worldwide. They're also a nonprofit. They actually hire adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Really cool story. I highly recommend you check out the website. They were gracious enough to not only send us this, but they're going to do a giveaway as well. So we are going to select one lucky winner. I'm not good with the phrase that pays, Wish. So I'm going to leave that to you. I'm not good with that at all, especially on the spot. How should we give away a package just like this? What should we do? Is it another Twitter phrase that pays? What do you think?
I think the phrase that pays should be Slapshot spatula. How about that?
Slapshot spatula. So first person that tweets us, tag Wyshynski, tag me at Arda at Wyshynski, and Slapshot spatula. This is coming your way. Happy holidays. That's awesome. Puck headlines. Dateline. Digital board ads. Oh, it's a fiery topic, Wish.
Oh my God.
It is a very fiery topic. Has there been some glitching during games? Yes. Have people been talking about it online? Yes, they have. I personally am not offended by them, nor am I annoyed by them, but sometimes I do feel like I'm on an island in this conversation. What is the latest on the digital board ads, Wish?
You're not, buddy. You got Commissioner Gary Bettman standing right next to you on that island, a man who said that according to the NHL's internal polling, the issue is a non-issue as far as the digital board ads. I think maybe they should expand their market research beyond people that work inside of NHL headquarters in Hudson Yards, maybe, but that's just me. Look, I'm not against them either. I think the technology is really cool. I think it'll only get better. There are glitches. Anytime the bench door opens, there's a glitch. You've had players disappear in the advertising, which is not ideal. But I'm encouraged by the potential for it. But listen, NHL, let's meet in the middle on this one, okay? Between the haters and the league. Let's get rid of the ones that move. Can we at least do that? Can we at least get rid of the Range Rover driving around the boards as the dudes skating the other way? Like, can we get rid of that? Because honestly, that is an unnatural movement that's happening during a game where the players' movements themselves are how we determine where the puck is on the ice. Get rid of that, and that's one step closer to maybe getting these things accepted better. You're right. Anything that is distracting to the viewer while they're trying to track the puck on the ice, I agree. That is definitely an area of concern. Dateline NHL Awards. I love what the NBA is doing here. They are basically renaming their trophies. They created new trophies. One of them is the Michael Jordan trophy for MVP. And actually, MJ had a hand in helping create the trophy. There's a lot of nice little nuances, details, intricacies in that particular trophy that MJ had a hand in helping design. So that got us thinking. NHL Awards, a lot of names that have been there for a very long time, representing, history of hockey from a century ago. So is it time to change the name of certain NHL awards? And if so, Wish, pick one and what would you change the name to? See, I think that's a great idea. I love the idea of updating the history of some of these awards. I wouldn't get rid of the Hart Trophy though. I kind of love the thing where it sounds like, like Hart, and it's a guy named Hart. I love that. We can keep the Hart Trophy. Okay. The Conn Smythe should be changed anyway. You can look up the Conn Smythe and Herb Carnegie and figure out the history there. But if we're going to change the playoff MVP trophy, give it to Wayne Gretzky. Gretzky was obviously somebody who won his share of playoff MVPs. The Gretzky Award for playoff MVP would be the change I make. See, in your scenario, that makes sense because obviously Gretzky would be the Hart Trophy. But yeah, I like your explanation. Can we change the name of the Art Ross Trophy? The reason I say this, I just want to read one little passage from Art Ross's Wikipedia, if I may, just really quick. Please. Arthur Howe Ross was a Canadian professional ice hockey player and executive from 1905 until 1954, regarded as one of the best defenders of his era by his peers. He was one of the first to skate with the puck up the ice rather than pass it to a forward. Okay, fine. You changed the game. Got it, Art Ross. In 3 NHL games, he had 1 point. Now, I understand. I get it. He was in that era where he was playing, the NHA, like there was different leagues, whatever. Okay. But this guy was not somebody who was known as a massive points getter. Okay. No. And since then, there have been plenty of other players, Wayne Gretzky included, that would be considered great points getters. And so for that reason, maybe the statutes and limitations have passed, Wish, and maybe we can pick a new, even if it was the Wayne Gretzky Award, whatever. I think that's one that I'd be okay with changing. Yeah, you don't appreciate the irony. It's like naming the Vezina Trophy after Red Light Rasico or something. But yeah, I agree with you. I think that's actually. And then it has a little siren at the top with the light. I thought you were going to say we should change the Art Ross Trophy because it sounds like it's named after an accountant. I always had a problem with that. It's like the most amazing superstar athlete in hockey wins an award that sounds like it's named after an accountant. Want to do your taxes like a boss? Call Art Ross. Call Art Ross.
All right, here's our question. Oh, actually, sorry, we have one more.
Yeah.
I believe we have one more here. Question of the week. Oh, sorry. No. We have another. Do we have 2 questions of the week? Wow, you guys keep sending us excellent questions. I didn't realize this. We got a question about the holidays. What is our ideal stocking stuffer at Christmas?
Oh, good question. I would go lottery tickets, scratch off lottery tickets. As a kid, it always made me so happy to be able to get those holiday scratchers. They got little candy canes on them and stuff. You borrow a nickel from your dad and you scratch them off. And the joy of winning $2 on a scratch off ticket was a very concrete Christmas morning memory for me.
I was surrounded by people that couldn't buy good gifts. So just give me gift certificates. Honestly, that's just give me,
No shame in that.
give me $10 to Amazon. I'm fine.
Yeah, no shame in that.
Question of the week from Iron Caniac, who is one of our regular viewers of In the Crease. I really appreciate that, Iron Caniac. Iron Caniac, I should say, pardon me. They point out every time a Hurricanes player is in our 3 stars. Every single time it's tweeted out, no fail. Really appreciate the passion. Can hockey ever aspire to have a truly global competition like soccer's World Cup, or should hockey fans be resigned to the fact that any best on best international tournament will always be confined to nations from barely a quarter of the world?
Well, I think more problematic than nations from a quarter of the world is the fact that the World Cup of Hockey is going to be an NHLPA presentation. So it's not like you're getting the Olympics where you have like Team Italy and things like that. You're going to have a lot of teams populated by NHL and NHLPA players, which will make a huge amount of fun for us as fans. But the only way they can really make the World Cup of Hockey feel like the FIFA World Cup is, like Iron Caniac said, reach out to nations that may not necessarily be in the final 8 and have qualifying tournaments around the world, bring the hockey to the people, and make it seem like a big deal, even if at the end of the day it's going to be the 7 or 8 nations you expect to be there.
I'm okay with the same 6 or 7 nations you would expect to be there participating in the tournament. I'm even okay with a stunts team. We all love Team North America. You have a freaking jersey. You wore it to UBS Arena, for crying out loud.
I do.
I also love the idea of having a last chance Cinderella team sneaking in, like in Italy or a Belarus or whatever the case may be, right? I'm fine with that too. And even if they don't go far in the tournament, at least there's a fun story. And at least the broadcasters can have something interesting to talk about, even for 1 game or 2 or whatever the group stage, whatever it might be. So listen, I want a best on best tournament wish that is not the Olympics. I want this. I think it's absolutely necessary for hockey, even if it's listen, we all watch Canada versus USA women's hockey. It's among the best hockey that we watch. It's one of the most looked forward to games that you can have in hockey. And we know that those 2 teams are probably going to be the teams that make it to the final.
Yeah.
So,
but again, for the love of the hockey gods, don't hold the thing in September. These guys are still sweating through their beer from July. Hold it in February, when they're all ready and they're in shape, and you'll have yourself a heck of a tournament, other than, like the one we had in 2016, which wasn't so great.
Yeah, you win some, you lose some. Thanks for watching us here on The Drop. We have some games on our ESPN family of networks. Blackhawks and Wild, that's an ESPN Plus exclusive on Friday. On Sunday on ESPN, it's Rangers and Blackhawks. What do we have coming up? I think we're going to have a special edition.
Oh, yeah,
of The
coming
Drop.
up on The Drop, our last episode before the end of the year. It is ranking the winter classics. Keep your eye out for that episode that'll hit before December 31st hits.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Goodbye.